Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode with Netty B, yours truly. And we are bringing you our Tuition Tuesday because we meet every Tuesday to talk about all things business coaching, either having a hot seat guest or where we share our Q&A. So if you are joining me for the first time tonight, welcome. And if you've been with me for any length of time, you'll know that I always go live in my Facebook group on a Tuesday. But what we're doing is we're broadening it out right now to encourage other people to get connected to all the good stuff that's happening within the Dream Business Launchpad and Power Up Coaching. So we are on week 5 of the series Sell with Soul. And tonight, we're going to be talking about all things to do with how to turn your prospects into paying clients, which, I believe is actually a major challenge for many new entrepreneurs, coaches, or anybody with a service-based business that's looking to sign on high-end clients. And many people really don't feel confident about selling. But there's one thing that you can do is you can actually turn this challenge around by mastering 5 keys to success. And if you were with me over the last 4 weeks, you would have learned that in week 1, we talked all about overcoming the mindset blocks and barriers about selling and understanding that selling is not really a bad thing at all. And week 2, we talked about knowing what your clients want and match your offer to their needs. So knowing what your client wants and actually matching your offer to their needs. In week 3, we talked about, just bear with me 1 second, I'm just going to press the right button. In week 3, we talked about how to be confident in yourself and, of course, be confident in the service that you are selling. In week 4, we shared last week that was about how to hold strategy sessions with your prospects, what to say, how to deliver them, and, of course, how to be able to move them from just, somebody who's interested to somebody who really wants to work with you. And today, the finale is we're going to be talking about how you can use the actual sales skills that don't look like selling. And that's why I labeled all of this selling with soul. So here's the good news, guys. Selling doesn't have to cause, so much discomfort. It really doesn't. But it is something that you can actually overcome. So if you are new to me and you're watching and you're tuning in for the first time, my name is Netty Bryan, and I'm the founder of Power Up Coaching, which is the #1 faith and money breakthrough academy for female entrepreneurs and coaches. And what we do in the academy is we train, we edify, we equip, and we release you into the marketplace and giving you all the skills that you need to be able to sign on your new clients, to create your offers or your high-end offers, to create your expert signature system, which is what I'm known for, and of course, to help you to overcome all those money blocks that you might have in believing that you can get out and serve the world the way that God intended. And one of the things, of course, that we have been talking about over the last few weeks is really how you can wrap all of those things up, those wonderful gifts, those wonderful talents that you have, of course, in the way that you can sell them. So that's what we're here to talk about today, using sales skills that don't actually look like selling. So one of the key things that you need to be aware of is that perfecting your sales skills is probably one of the best skills that you can actually learn in your business. It really, really is. And a lot of people do often shy away from this because either they're not used to having that front end conversation or they're just fearful of actually asking for the price, okay? But there is a technique that can be honed through actually delivering your strategy sessions. So just to confirm, what a strategy session is, it's a one-to-one with one of your prospective clients, okay? And the strategy session is designed to be a place where you're listening to that prospective client, but also where you're exploring their needs. And then, of course, if appropriate, you can introduce your offer or your service. Now, during the session, the potential client will also get to learn a little bit about, the details of what it is that you've got to offer. And then they, of course, can make a decision, and you can make a decision whether that's right for both of you. So technically, there is no hard selling involved in the actual discovery call. It's not really made for that at all. And instead, what you want to do is actually show your value. That's what you've got to do, is show the value of your offer. Okay. And of course, you need to explain it to them and how it's going to help them, because those are the two reasons as to why that person decided to get on the call with you in the first place, so that they can understand what it is that you're doing. And of course, that you get the opportunity to explain how your offer, your service, your product can help them. And then at the end of it, together, you're determining whether it's right for the client or whether it's not. Okay, so the most important thing here is actually having the right energy. And I tell you what, nobody likes sleazy salespeople. Absolutely not. And one thing that I was taught, and one thing that I love to do in a place and space where I come from, is really all about having a soulful sales, okay, or performing soulful sales, or leading your client through that conversation in that way. But selling really is something, that most entrepreneurs do worry about. And one of the things that, a question that you might have during your sales call is, what if you don't actually make a sale? That's one of the biggest concerns and worries for entrepreneurs or any person in the sales realm. And of course, the coaching question that I'd like to actually give back to you, or for any person who's struggling with that, is, what if you do? What if you do? Because the key thing is about making sure that you're setting up the sales call in the right way, first and foremost. You're going in with the right energy, and you're having what we call passionate detachment to the outcome. Because that way, when you have passionate detachment to the outcome, you can actually lead that sales call as a powerhouse coach that you are, entrepreneur or service-based individual. And the key thing I'd love to think about here is, why are you worrying anyway? Why are you worrying about the outcome? And it's almost like the key thing to remember here is, if you don't make a sale, if you don't coach that person to what we call a yes or no decision, and if you actually listened to week 4, or if you haven't listened to week 4, I'd encourage you to go back and do so, because it will tell you in detail the purpose of your actual discovery or your strategy sessions. Okay, so here's the thing: it's not a reflection on you, and it's definitely not a reflection on your service. What it really means, it means that it's just not right. Okay, it means that the offer and the prospect aren't a good match. Okay, and that's absolutely okay. Or it also means possibly that they're not ready. Maybe they haven't crossed that bridge, or maybe there was some things that you needed to maybe add in to the way that you were delivering it to give them everything that they needed, i.e., answering all their objections to help them to make that decision. But here's the thing to remember: there is huge benefits when you don't actually make a sale. And I know you might be sitting there thinking, Netty, that sounds great, but what do you mean there's huge benefits when you don't make a sale? Because all I feel right now is very disappointed, lacking confidence in myself, and I'm feeling really, really terrible. But here's the thing, and this is what I used to do, when I used to get on the sales calls initially, and I was, telling people all about my products and services, and sometimes it would come that they were not ready right at that specific time. Of course, there's a little glitch in you that thinks, all I really want to do is help you. But I needed to check what was happening in the process. So within that, I did a review of my sales calls. I spoke to my mentor, and I tweaked a few things. And I kid you not, from that moment forward, I started to get more yeses than I did no's. Okay. But as I say, there's a huge benefit to not making a sale. And here's the reason why. When you don't make a sale, you actually get to learn more about your prospects, and of course, learn more about your challenges. And if you're anything like me, I ask permission every single time to record my sales calls. That way I can go back and see what I could have done better. So it's almost like a self-analysis as well. And I've done hundreds of sales calls and realized, as I say, in the early days, what was happening for me in that process. And you might also be asking yourself these following questions. Why wasn't it a good match? All right. And when you do answer this question, it can also show you what you might need to change about your offer, because sometimes it's not necessarily in the way you deliver it. Sometimes it's about the offer itself. Okay. Or perhaps it's about the way that you are presenting your offer. And it could also tell you that maybe the target market that you are working with is wrong. Okay. So if you haven't got your ideal client profile dialed in, it's important that you actually go back and really revisit that and make sure that that marries to the offer that you're offering. And of course, it connects really well. Okay. Again, it could be the way that you're presenting your offer. And you might be presenting it in a way that you're speaking solely about the features instead of speaking about the benefits. Because remember, it's not in the mechanics, right? And a lot of new coaches, new entrepreneurs get this wrong. They feel that it's really all about the actual features, i.e., how often are we going to connect? How many times of the month are we going to connect? What are we going to be doing? Rather than looking at the result, looking at the benefits that encounter, that coaching program, it or service is going to be giving to your client. So remember, it's not about the mechanics. Okay. So what do you need to do instead? You need to use the information in this case to revise your sales approach. If you're struggling with that and you've had some of those outcomes that I've mentioned, you need to use this process as a case study for yourself and revise your sales approach and make them become more effective. And the way to make your sessions most effective on both sides, and that means for you and your prospective client, because again, the user experience and of course the connection you have is really important. And I'm just going to share just a couple of little secrets with you to help you to do that. And here's what you need to do. You need to master 3 sales skills that I'll share with you right now. And the key word is practice, practice, practice until you get really, really good at delivering this and, of course, doing these. So number 1 is you've got to be really good at asking great questions. And here's the reason why. Because when you ask great questions, it's going to solicit more information from your prospective client, which gives you a great snapshot of exactly what their problem is. All right. Your questions need to be relevant questions. So not only great questions, but relevant questions. That's your secret number 1. Secret number 2 is you need to actively listen. A lot of people don't do this, okay? Some of us are always speakers. It's important that we actively listen. So listen to the undertones, listen to what it's costing your prospective client, but for staying in their current situation. Because when they're talking, you need to make sure that you're giving them your full attention, of course, and listening really, really closely, because by doing that, you're getting a great idea of their desired situation right now. So, i.e., where they want to move away from and to where they want to go. And of course, your solution, your product, your expert signature system will be the vehicle that takes them from where they are to where they want to be. Okay. And in doing so, when you actively listen, what's happening is that you are determining whether your service is actually right to meet their needs. Then, of course, in that process, you're going to want to summarize as you go along. It's not something you leave till the end. You're going to summarize as you go along, because what happens then when you do this, it actually shows the person that you're listening. All right. And it also gives you a chance to do what's most important within the process of the discovery call, is to clarify. And clarifying and being clear is really important because it shows that you can understand. It shows that you understand what it is that they're looking for. And then you'd also want to be able to map out whether your solution, your system, your program, or your offers is the right thing for them. Okay. And the other benefit that it has here, and this is for your potential client as well, is that it actually helps them to clarify their own thinking. So let me just share this modeling with you. All right. If I was in a call with a prospective client, I might say something like this. So what you're saying is, okay, so just these little words here. So what you're saying is, and then ask them if that's correct or not, because you're clarifying for yourself, but also you're clarifying the thoughts and helping your prospect to get clarity on their own thinking. Okay. The last and final secret is to make your invitation. All right. You need to make your invitation to what is next for them. And you need to make sure you make your invitation in the right way and at the right time in the call. So, what you're doing here is you're actually leading the conversation from the discussion that you had about why they want the coaching or what it is that they want to see in their life, in their business, what they want to move away from, into a conversation about your service and, of course, the prospect's needs. Okay, so what you're doing is you're creating some concrete actions at this specific point in a way that's going to move them from where they are and talks to them about what taking that next step with you actually looks like. Okay, so here's how you would actually transition into your offer, and you do it by saying something like this. So let me model this again for you. So you'd say, from what you're telling me, I think, then you'd name your program or your new course. You would say something like, from what you're telling me, I think, for example, my dream business launchpad, selling with soul program might be great for you. Okay. And then you'd go into a sentence that says this simply, do you mind if I tell you a little bit about it? Then you're going to want to pause and wait for them to respond. That's it. That's how you actually start selling with soul. Okay. Of course, they're going to say yes to you. But the key thing to remember here is when you start going into delivering your offer, i.e. telling them about your program, do not bombard them with all of the features. Remember, we spoke earlier that it's all about the benefits. Don't do that. Okay. You need to make sure you're sharing the benefits of what it's going to look like for them. And you don't have to give them the entire program unless they're that type of inquisitive person who wishes to know every little detail about it, right? And one of the other things that I think is a really key point, if you are a new coach or you haven't got this in your business yet, is to create yourself what we call a one sheet, all right, which is a one-page document that you will talk about. You create it and talk about it. And this is what I do with my clients in the Dream Business Launchpad. I help them create their one sheet so that then you can use it in your sales calls. You can use it for your web copy. And then, of course, you can send it to that prospective client after the call to remind them of exactly what it is that you spoke about. All right, so that's what I got for you guys. And I've got one final action step from this week 5. And this action step is simply this. It's to work the above 3 sales techniques into your strategy sessions. And let me just give you a quick reminder. Number 1, you need to ask great questions. Number 2, you need to make sure you're actively listening. And number 3 is don't forget to make the invitation. Okay. And you want to use them as a way, use those questions as a way to smoothly and naturally move the conversation along. All right. So if you're ready to overcome all of the mindset blocks that you might have or barriers that you've got to selling, if you're ready to know what your clients want and maybe match your offer to their needs or even create your offer if you haven't got one yet, and maybe you're just here because you want to become a bit more confident in yourself and of course in your service, and you want to use sales skills that don't look like selling, here's the thing that I have for you. You can learn all of this in my new Sell with Soul program that teaches you to take your expert signature system and your high-end offer, wrap it up in great soulful sales skills that you as coaches can sign new clients into. And you can learn more about this with me, and I'll talk you through my step-by-step system for turning your potential prospects into paying clients. Okay. And what happens in this is my coaching course, it teaches you how to do it and a lot more along the way. All right. So you'll get loads of tools, you'll get some templates, and of course, you're going to get some great coaching from me. So here's the last final call to action for you. If you want to learn more about, how to word soulful if you want to learn more about that, put the word soulful in the comments, and I'll make sure that I'll reach out to you in the DMs, or I'll send you a link so that you can connect with me to learn a little bit more how you can learn to sell with soul. So if you are watching this on YouTube, I want you to like, share, and subscribe. And if you're watching this from the Facebook group, please do make sure that you share this video with your friends and invite somebody along who needs to hear this, and of course the previous 4 weeks of the Sell with Soul series. All right, so that's what I got for you today. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to move straight into any Q&A. If you are here live with me in the back end, I think I've got somebody in Zoom with me. Beatrice, lovely to have you. And if you are watching this live from the group or in YouTube, please do pop your questions in the comments, and I will be make sure that I get those answered for you. So Beatrice, do you want to pop on and say hello? Would you like to pop on and say hi? If you have a question for us, I'm going to give you 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. There are no questions. Let me just check in the comments in the Facebook group to see if there are any. I can't see any at the moment. All right, my lovely. So that's it. So this is me, Netty B, for another week of Tuition Tuesday. And we are looking at the last week of Sell with Soul series. And I'm really glad that you have joined me tonight. And I look forward to speaking to you same time, same place next week. God bless you. Bye.